Hey guys, I just wanted to talk about something that I feel like we don't really talk about enough. And also I love that my light's like shining down like this. It looks like I'm an angel. Hold on, let me go right in it. Anyway, so a lot of us develop belief systems and thoughts based on starting in our childhood, based on our experiences. And then oftentimes what happens is we choose people and situations that reflect or mirror those traumas and those cycles, and we stay stuck in them. And so we continually reaffirm that this belief or this idea, whatever it is truth, right? And then every time we have somebody who shows us that it's that way, that belief becomes stronger and stronger and stronger. Which, if you ever notice, when people are posting online or you're talking to somebody and you're saying something that you know to be opposite of what they're saying, they become really defensive. And the reason they're becoming defensive is because at some level, they probably, at a soul, intuitive level, they probably know what you're saying is true, but their human mind doesn't want to accept that, because once the human mind accepts that that belief system is false or inaccurate, it's what I like to call the trauma of Pandora's box opening. Because if I accept your truth, then I have to accept all of the other shit that I falsely believed related to that. So, like, for example, if you believe that, like, love doesn't exist, real love doesn't exist, or people don't know how to show up for you. And a lot of times it relates to different things like, I'm not enough, I'm not worthy, I have to prove myself, whatever it is, right? So like if you're a kid and you're a parent, like I'll just speak from my childhood and kind of my experience, and hopefully like you guys can relate it in your own situation. So growing up, my mom died right before I was 3. And then my dad remarried my stepmom like a year later. So she had brought like a kid into the house. It was me and my older sister. And then they ended up having a kid together. So there was 4 girls total. I was definitely not only the black sheep, but I was also the target child for everything. So I was seeing how I had to do everything. All the chores were my responsibility. I was also the one who got yelled at for hours and hours and hours, treated like shit, called all these names and all this stuff. Meanwhile, my sisters were getting love, they were getting hugs, they were getting validation, they had freedom, they didn't have all this stuff. So the belief that I developed from that was, I'm doing something wrong, I'm a problem, I'm not enough. And it made me feel left out. It made me feel unlovable. It made me feel all kinds of different ways about myself, because obviously that has to be true because I'm seeing how my sisters get love. So it's not that these 2 people can't give me love. It's just because I'm unlovable, right? We don't realize this consciously, that we're developing these belief systems. So then you end up in friendships with people who always show up and choose other people over you. They'll say all the right things to you, but they'll still always choose other fucking people. And you'll always feel left out, and you'll always show up for them, give them love, care about their feelings and all this stuff. All the things that you want from them, you'll do for them, and they'll still not do it for you. So then it reinforces that I'm not enough, I'm not worthy, people don't love me, people don't care about me, blah, 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 blah. Then you go into romantic relationships where they cheat on you, they lie to you, they do all this stuff, they don't stick to their word, they're unreliable, undependable, all this stuff. You see what I'm saying? So you keep reinforcing that this message is true, which is whatever your own specific message is. So once you accept that you're lovable, once you accept that somebody actually loves you and cares, it's going to open all this shit. Which is why people literally usually run away from or avoid people that are actually the opposite of what their belief system is. So like, if you believe that you're not lovable, then when somebody shows you are, you'll find problems with them, you get defensive, you'll push them away because you can't handle the truth that you are actually lovable. Hold on, my cat's doing something. Let's try to see what she's doing. So if you think about why, is if somebody shows you you're lovable, then you have to go, wait, shit, I've been wrong about everything. Now that opens up that all this shit that was done to me was because my parents were fucked up. Because not everybody's parents are fucked up, but a lot of us had really fucked up parents. And it wasn't like they tried their best and like they gave us trauma. They were fucked up to us. They're abusive to us. They were neglectful. They were fucked up. Okay. Like really no other way to say it. They weren't supportive. They didn't give a shit about our feelings. They were selfish as fuck. Like those type of parents, right? Not everybody's are like that, but take it how it resonates, whatever. So then we have to we have to recognize that this parent that I have on a pedestal, this parent that I looked up to, this parent that I just want love from, I want to know that they're proud of me, I want these things from, I have to now accept that they shouldn't be on this pedestal, that they're just a fucking person who never gave a shit. They're a person who's selfish. They're a person who didn't look out for me. They're a person who didn't protect me and keep me safe when they fucking should have. That was their responsibility as an adult to do that. And then we have to look at how all of these things we learned and believed about ourselves aren't fucking true. And then what it does is it opens up all these people who felt our pain and knew all these things about us, how they used us and manipulated us to get what they wanted for themselves. And then we have to recognize that there are bad people in this world. There are selfish people in this world. And we have to unpack all of this stuff. So once we accept one truth, all of the weave of the web of, the spider web is connected to all these other fucking things. So one truth opens Pandora's box to all the other things that relate to it. And oftentimes there's a lot of things that relate to it, which is why it's hard for people to accept the reality of stuff, because it's not just one thing. It connects to all this other stuff. And then people are like, well, shit, what am I going to do? Because now I just accepted that my parent was neglectful. My parent was abusive. My parent didn't love me. My parent didn't support me. You see them for who they were and not who you wanted them to be, not who they tried to say they were. And then you go, well, shit, I love them. I don't want to lose them. But how can I have a relationship with these people that literally aren't safe, that don't have my back, that literally can't listen to my fucking feelings and validate my experience and all of this? And then it opens all this other stuff, because then you also realize that I have friends who do this too. We should say friends in quotes. I have friends who do this too. Well, there's nobody who loves people. There's nobody who supports people. And you'll start second guessing yourself. Like, well, maybe I'm wrong because this person showed up like this and this person did this. And I've never actually seen that it's possible for somebody to love me. Maybe this person's just manipulating me too in a different way. Maybe I'm really not lovable. Maybe they're just trying to get something else. And it's it's just the Pandora's box of stuff opening. So it's not always easy for us to accept that. And I think a lot of us go through this, and I don't think I've ever seen any information of people talking about this. And I feel like we should be talking about stuff like this more, because I think it would help us to understand why it's so hard for us to accept the truth of situations. And then we also have to, at some level, take responsibility that we were allowing people to mistreat us. And even, I go through a little conflict with this, because it's I shouldn't have had to make a choice, because you shouldn't have done that to me and you knew better. You know that what you did hurt me, and you know that what you're doing was hurting me. So I shouldn't even had to be in a situation to make a choice, because you shouldn't have done what you did. But also at some level, it's you are responsible for who you allow into your life. And oftentimes, if you're how I was, is we didn't know we deserve better, because we didn't think it was possible. We didn't think it was possible for people to love us. We didn't think it was possible for people to show up for us. We didn't think this was a real thing that existed. We didn't think love was a real fucking thing that existed. We wanted to believe it was, but we never experienced it or saw it. So for us, we just didn't know. We didn't know that wow, okay, we can actually have this. We just settled into things because that's what we thought was the best that we could ever have. That's how we thought people actually were. And it's not just always related to us. It's also related in society and stuff, conditioning. And I've noticed a lot on social media, but people I talk to, where women have certain perceptions of men, that all men care about is bodies and sex and all that type of stuff. And all women care about is a guy who has a six-pack, or his height, or money, or what he can provide. And there's these false beliefs that go around. And the problem is there's a lot of people who are unaware, who feed into ego stuff, who don't have self-awareness. So the majority of people, and not everybody is like that, they're just not aligned with themselves, and they're trying to fit in. So they're still feeding into the ego and the bullshit and stuff, but it doesn't mean that that's true. It doesn't mean that it's true. Anything that we're conditioned to believe, or anything that we become defensive about when somebody tries to tell us a different reality, oftentimes that's because there is some truth in that you know, and you don't want to accept that. Because once you accept it, you realize you have to make different choices. You have to change. You have to heal. And then now you have to sit in the discomfort of allowing what you want actually in. And you've never experienced that before. So it's unsafe to you, unfamiliar to you, uncomfortable. And oftentimes we feel like we don't know how to handle this. We don't know how to handle somebody showing up. We don't know how to handle somebody loving us because we've never experienced this. So even though at a deeper level you want it, even sometimes at a conscious level you want it, when somebody does do it, it's almost like you want to sabotage, you want to run away because you don't trust yourself that you can handle it. There's a whole bunch of layers to it. There's a whole bunch of layers. So a lot of times people run away and avoid. A lot of times people won't accept it because it's not easy. And so like, I know when I first started shifting this stuff and I started realizing, wow, people do love me. Wow, people do actually care. It started opening up all the reasons why I felt like they didn't. And even just the other day, I had like a purge and awareness to something of why I had a certain belief system. And I was just like, damn, that's fucked up. Not like that I have that belief system. Damn, that's fucked up. The reason I feel like this is because something that was fucked up was done. And so like, it's not always easy, but then when somebody does show up for you, you know what it does? It makes you uncomfortable as shit. It feels heavy as fuck in your chest. You're just like, okay, this is a new feeling. This is hard. This is not easy right now. But what you do is you breathe through it. You sit in the discomfort and you remind yourself that it's okay for me to be loved. It's okay for me to be accepted. It's actually a really nice feeling. And although it's unfamiliar and I'm not comfortable with it, just like anything else that's new, I can start getting used to this. I just have to sit in the discomfort, sit in it, work through whatever feelings are coming up, whatever insecurities are coming up, whatever trauma that's related to the past that's coming up. And the more you do it, the more you allow it in, the better and easier things become, because then you start realizing that you're enough. You start realizing you're lovable. You start doing all these stuff, and it builds this safety and stability and trust because your decisions change, who you allow in your life changes, what boundaries you enforce change, how you communicate changes, everything changes. And then when you're making choices that are from your heart, from a place of love and not a trauma, then your whole reality changes, because then you start being more confident in yourself. You start being who you actually are. And so then you keep filling your own cup. And then all this shit that you're so anxious or avoidant about, all that shit doesn't matter anymore because you're actually getting all of those needs met from yourself. And then anything else is an added fucking bonus, and it just brings more fucking happiness or more validation or more acceptance and more love. You see, like, you won't need those things anymore. They'll just be bonuses to what you already have. So like, it will completely shift. You just have to make that choice to accept the real reality and just deal with all the stuff that comes with uncovering that, and then work through it. And when somebody shows up for you and you're uncomfortable, honestly, when people used to compliment me, when I started actually realizing these things and people used to compliment me, I'd feel that shit so heavy. And I'm like, I could feel myself wanting to resist it. So I'd purposely like relax my body, and I would go, I'm going to accept that compliment. Thank you. And it was hard for me, so hard for me when people would show up for me or give me love. It was so uncomfortable for me. I could hear my mind wanting to go to, well, what if they're using me? Well, what if they're this? What if they're this? And there's a difference. You intuitively can feel it anyway. And they consistently show up for you. That what they say, they also do. So they will actually help you heal all the other stuff, because you'll start seeing how somebody who is true actually shows up for you and how they handle stuff. And then so you can start breathing into it. So when you want to run away, you sit in your discomfort, you open up a little bit more and say, thank you for that love. Thank you for, whatever. And like, I appreciate it. Right now I'm a little uncomfortable because I'm not used to feeling that, but thank you. I don't want you to stop doing it, but thank you also, because it's helping me to heal all of those beliefs and all of those things. And that's really what it is. It's you disconnecting from that past energy, you disconnecting from that pain of the past. It just feels really uncomfortable because now you're leaving that old version of you behind, the trauma version of you behind, and you're fully stepping into your power and who you are. And it's a good thing. And like, I promise you, you want relationships like that. You want healthy relationships. And if you think it's not possible, I promise you it is. Like, I'm almost 38, and like, I've been healing shit for years, and like, something changed for me like a few months ago where I realized I wasn't asking for too much. And as soon as I made that choice, as soon as I had that realization that I wasn't asking for too much and that my needs mattered, all of my behaviors changed and everything has changed since then in such a positive way. I feel at peace, started becoming more fucking stable within myself, loving myself more confident in myself, living bigger goals, like all this stuff. And it has just completely changed my life in a positive way. So I hope that this helps anybody who is going through this. And if you're not ready to make that shift or something like that right now, that's okay. Maybe save the video and it will help you when you are ready to. And there's no shame, there's no guilt, there's no anything with it. It's just sometimes you're in a place where maybe you have something else going on or you're trying to heal something else and that you just don't feel ready and prepared for it. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's okay. The only thing I always try to tell people, and I think this is the most important thing, is don't lie to yourself. Like, don't lie to yourself. Even if you're in a shitty situation, even if you're in unhealthy relationships, even if you're doing unhealthy things, the biggest, most important thing is don't lie to yourself. Because you lose trust with yourself, it causes anxiety. And then when you actually have to make a decision, you will not be able to be calm. You will feel chaos because you won't trust your word, even if you know it's true, because you're so used to lying to yourself that you no longer have that safety. So think about somebody who lies to you about stuff. You won't trust their word even if they're telling the truth because they've proven to you they're untrustworthy. The same goes for you. So even if you're not ready to make a choice to leave or make a choice to do something different or set a boundary or communicate, even if you're not ready for all that, just don't lie to yourself about what's really going on. Don't lie to yourself about how you feel. Don't avoid those things. Be honest with yourself. Just being honest with yourself will actually help you build the strength to start seeing the reality of stuff rather than the stuff we try to tell our mind, to be able to accept and validate our false reality. And by doing that, it will help you see things more clearly for you to actually work through that trauma, that cycle, and to actually get out of it easier. And you won't struggle as much when you are ready to actually get out of it. So anyway, I hope that this helped you guys, and I hope you guys have an amazing day.